They don't even spend the time on negotiating their term sheet. They don't spend the time in terms of selecting their investment partner. They don't spend the time in terms of valuation. They don't spend the time on evaluating whether debt or equity. All these elements are elements that you need to spend the time, even if it's 10 minutes, even if it's the discussion that you need to have, you need to spend the time on this, because then the quality of your decision will be a better quality decision. So I've put you this because this is a bit, it's my own learning on these, the different elements. And the last one are the key risk areas. As an investor, I always invest in companies or in people that know what cannot go wrong, what cannot go right. So what are the issues that will not go right, and what, so, and this is where I understand how good of an entrepreneur he is. So when I sit down with Rida or I would sit down with Hala, I will tell Hala what can go wrong in your thing. So Hala is trying to provide, you have an automated way to get your interior design with a very low cost. You could also place orders for the furniture all online for it. You pay $150, you have it. So we'll say, I said, look, what can go wrong in her business is today I am the one, I use her services, I take the names of the people, I go and I get my discount without telling her that I have bought. So she has no way to track that I use her system, went in and decided to buy the furniture, and the 20% that she was supposed to get from she's not getting it. So I said, if you cannot track the transaction and be able to track it, your business is not going to end up being well. So this is one risk area that she has, and she needs to come back to me and to tell me how she's going to come up and demonstrate to be able to track the transaction and be able to get the revenues related to this transaction. Each one of you have areas that cannot go right, that will go wrong. So what are these areas, and then what are you going to do in order to be able to fix it in case of these areas happen? This is the last phase, phase 12. Okay, it's a long, big mouthful. Now this mouthful, behind each one, the initial sets of slides is 200. Actually, each one, the transformation plan by itself is a full day. Actually, to be very honest, it's 3 months to develop a right transformation plan. If you want to do a good job at a transformation plan and involve the whole field. The business model canvas is fairly straightforward. A couple of rounds of discussion, you have a pretty decent one. The gap analysis is also pretty forward, and I'll show you an example of what these are. The financial plan will take some time to get you used, but it's also, we could do it, but it will need time. Evaluating the different sources of capital, doing the valuation that you have, selecting of the investment partner. So this process could be a process that could take a month on the fast side, or it could take 6, it could take 12 months to go through. But even if it takes a month, I encourage you to spend time and asking yourself the question that I've been asking yourself on each of these steps. Okay, questions. I was supposed to show you 55 slides today. I showed you one. I'm going to show you a second one. The second one, this is the 12M. And what time is it? What time?
We still have 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay, this 12M is the gap. Now, I came up with these 12M. You see, the thing is, when I first started, I started with 6 M's. Then I was at Stanford 6M. Then afterwards, I said, no, 8 M's. Then I came up to 9, 12. Then I get up to the 12 M's. Now, probably afterwards, sometimes it will, and I'll show you what are these M's for. So this is a way for you, it's like a reference point. So this, so they keep evolving. So the people who were with me, the coaches who were with me at the beginning, they said, Constantin, this is life. Life, it's evolved. The first step is basically why you exist. I mentioned it. This is basically your raison d'être. What is your life project? Why are you here? What are you trying to deliver? What pain point are you trying to solve? Is this a real pain point, or it's in your mind a pain point? Is this, and can you do it better? So this is the first M, which is basically a clear, comprehensive, and shared mission. So this is your raison d'être, and have it crystal clear. This is something shared, not only in your head, but in the heart of your people, in the heart of your shareholders, in the heart of your stakeholders. This is the first M. And in a number of cases, it takes time. You take rounds and you go through it. The second M, which is extremely important, is your team. In most of the cases, when Rida came the first time here, he showed me the thing, my heart started to beat, Sami's heart started to beat. It was all engineers. Then he said advisory. I said, advisory. We're going to say non-advisory people. They were all professors of engineers, you know, so this is on this academia. And then the board meetings, if it's all academics and all engineers, then he drew in a good friend that I happen to know on him, who is a finance. And then I realized the difference between his presentation to Berrytech and his presentation yesterday to IM Capital is he put the guy in his team, where Practically speaking, the guy is not full-time because he has a full-time job, but he has put him in his team to make sure that there is non-engineers behind it. So there have been some progress after the discussion that we had. But the management team is important. Because when I look at the management team as an investor, I want to make sure that it's a complete management team. A number of you in tech startup would be only tech people. You have nobody on sales. I have been working, Salameh knows the company, I don't mention the name. The guy is probably the best R&D hub that you have in Lebanon. He's the best. He's a great guy, very intelligent. He surrounds himself, very intelligent. The last thing he cares is about commercializing product. What he loves the most is to come up, solve a problem, and resolve the problem. Whether this problem is going to generate sales, it's the last of his thing. He's not interested. He's interested in cracking the code. They're code crackers, and they do it well. But as an investor, I'm not interested. I want to get out from your solution. I want to be able to, and you have, this is why it's important to have people that could help you commercialize it, to help people that could help you put your financial plan, negotiate with your investment capital. So the quality and the comprehensiveness of your management team is important. Linked to it, it's not only your team, who are your advisors? Who is helping you? Who is sitting down with Hala to help her whether she's doing the right thing or not? The quality of these people, and these are people you don't pay. These are advisors. They're here, they help you, they like your idea, and they like to be in touch with you, and you do this. So this is important that you surround yourself not only with a good team, but you surround yourself with advisors that could add value on your pain points. So it's not only engineers. It is salespeople, it's finance people, it's strategy people, it might be bankers, it might be lawyers. Depending on what your business model is, find yourself that you have a right management team in place. The third M is your model. Is your model going to generate revenue? Is your model going to generate revenue at a profit? Is this sustainable? So the M is in terms of your model. How is your model proven, not proven? This is the fourth M is your market. Are you in the right market? I've mentioned Rida, we know what the market is. We know who is addressing the market, we know how they're addressing. But the market size is clear. It's documented. We know what he's addressing. And if he cracks the code, he could have a fair share of this market. Because today no one, there might be other Ridas around the world that are doing the same thing behind the radar screen, and then somebody could jump in. But there will be, this market is a sizable market. We need to understand, you need to understand your market. Rima needs to understand how many soaps is being sold in Lebanon in the sort of quality soaps that she's doing. How many of these soaps are sold into the MENA region? How much sort of share she could aim at getting on from these soaps. So the market is important. Your mantra. The fifth M is the mantra. What is the mantra? What makes you unique? Why you? Why should I go to you? Why I go to you now? Why would I go to you in 2 years down the road or in 3 years down the road? And the mantra is very difficult for a lot of people to put it together. So what is your unique selling proposition? What makes you special? Why should I go to you? Why other people cannot come and copy you and that get you out of the business? Lebanese are excellent at doing this. So what makes you unique and how can you sustain this uniqueness? The 6M is about metrics. I'm an engineer. I ended up being a finance person, I ended up being an investor, I ended up being a facilitator. But at the base, I'm an engineer. And I've been brought up 20 years at HP, so I got my label in HP. At the time in the 80s and 90s, it was the Google of the, it was the best company to work for. In the 80s, when I graduated from Stanford, I was there. Now, Bill Hewlett and David Packard came up, and they're the one who came up. If you got things that get measured, get done. So if you don't have clear metrics on what you're trying to do, it won't be measured properly. So what we try to do with the metrics, and I spend time with the companies, I spend time in identifying, this is for instance, I'm asking Rida to come back on Friday with his finance guy and give me the 2 or 3 metrics that you're going to deliver over the next 12 months to us as investors. So he has to come and do the work. And these metrics could be related to financial metrics, could be related to customer metrics, could be related to operation metrics, could be related to people that he's hiring. So he needs to give me these metrics. And related to metrics is the milestone. The metrics is basically a dashboard. You know, revenue, profits, market share, customer satisfaction. These are numbers. They're black and white. The milestones are projects. When he's going to do his revenue, he needs to make sure that his platform is developed. He needs to make sure that he's going to hire a CTO or a business development guy. So these milestones are projects that you have to implement. Hala has a list of things that you need to do over the next 3 months in order to be able to get her revenue level up. So this is the 7th M, which is what are the things that you need to do. For instance, Rana, what are the things, if you really want to transform, if I ask you 3 or 4 things that are important things that you have to deliver on over the next 6 months, what are these things? And then I will see whether these are breakthrough or not breakthrough. If it's business as usual, I'll say it's business as usual. I want to know the things that you will do that will be complete breakthrough that are going to make, and we spend time on this. Sami has been shadowing me. We spend a lot of time on defining the metrics, because once these are defined, the rest becomes easy. Because then you know where you can help the company in growing, and you know where you could add value. The 8th M is monitoring. If you have metrics and you have milestones, and you say, Constantin, it's too complicated. It's not. It could be 2 metrics, and it could be 3 milestones. All I need. But I want you to deliver, and I want you to be accountable. First, I want it to be transparent, because we sometimes invest and we don't know what we're expecting from the company. We want to have money. But really, over the next 3 months or 6 months, what do you expect from the company to deliver, and what are the metrics? And if you don't monitor, nobody pays attention. And then it goes away. And most companies don't have metrics. Most companies don't have milestones. Most investment committees do not follow on the investment that they have made. And this is why I believe strongly in having quarterly reports of previous companies to ensure that we're tracking how they do. If not, they could go the way they want, and then you have a very little chance to be able to help them. The 9th M, as we mentioned it, is the money. All of you will need the money, but make it intelligent money. Make it money of people with whom share the same value, that you could trust, that you could have. This is what I mean by intelligent money to fund your transformation. The 10th M is about mitigation plan. Mitigation plan is I need to know, it's going back to the risk factor, what are the risk factor and what is the mitigation plan that you have to address it on it. The 11th M is the maturity and succession planning. A number of the founders, Rida, I use Rida, I could use any, but they feel, and I was a CEO of 2 groups. One is Al Masoud in Abu Dhabi, and the other one is Al Ghurair, which is today the largest group in the UAE, private group. Now, all of these founders are convinced that they are going to live for eternity. Nobody plans for succession. What happens? When the founder dies, what happens? The brothers or the sons end up fighting. So Al Ghurair becomes Al Ghurair Group and Al Ghurair Investments. Al Futtaim becomes Majd Al Futtaim and Al Futtaim Group. And I mentioned all these, they all end up splitting. They all split after 2nd or 3rd generation, they split, and it's a shame. Because a lot of the values is in the synergies, and these synergies is lost when you split. Not only they split, they hate each other. You know, they swear at each other, and then they're the worst enemies, and they're part of the same family that you have. Planning for replacing you, I asked Sumaya, no, not Sumaya, there was another gentleman, Corinne is not here, the one who is doing the juices, fresh juice. He's a great guy. He knows his peasants, he knows it, but I don't think he's the right CEO. Maybe he's not here, I don't think he's here. But it's, I told him, Mont Blanc, I said, look, great idea, great things, Wildin, but if we find somebody who is better than you, are you willing to let go? A number of startups, founders do not want to let go. I've asked the same question to Rida. Rida, let go means if you might not be the right CEO for Jardin d'Eden. So if I find somebody who could do a better job than you and who have a better skill set in order to be able to take you from where you are in Lebanon and to put you on a regional basis, then I might tell you, you are still a majority shareholder, sits on the board, let somebody else replace you. He becomes an employee. He becomes an employee, but you're not anymore the captain. You're not anymore the captain. And a lot of you as entrepreneurs, you get the kick of being the captain. And we as investors feel that you might be the right captain for this 1 or 2 year period, but after 2 years we don't think you're the right captain. And in this process, this is why it's important to be able to plan for succession. So who is going to replace you? And then make sure that you are open to the idea of potentially being replaced in 2 or 3 years down the road. Now Reda was very clever because he needed the money, so he answered whatever he wanted me to hear, which is basically, I have no problem. If somebody is here, I'll be able to be the CTO and continue doing this. And the last M, which is probably the most important one, is at the end is this is the gut feel, is your motivation. Do you have what it takes to be able to take this company and grow it? It's about your passion, it's about your charisma, it's about your motivation to overcome the huge problem that you have in Lebanon and outside, to be able to do it with your team. Do you have the resilience? The resilience, Lebanese have it, you know, but it's as a resilient people, it's a very few culture. But you need this combination of resilience and combination of flexibility, combination of passion and charisma. If you have all those, this is what we like. We like to go for people who have it, you feel it in the way they talk, you feel it something close to their heart, you feel it that they will die for this idea because it's an idea which is strong, core strong. So this is the last M. This you don't build it. This you either have it or you don't have it. So it's in you or it's not in you. So these will be a bit the 12 M. Now if you come back in a year down the road, I'll probably have a couple more on this case. So this is the first, and I'm asking you to think. Not only think of you as a company, but think of you as an individual. Think of you as who you are and look at it. And this is part of reflecting on the mirror and being able to see. And here, some you'll be good at, others you won't be good at. It's normal. So what are we going to do to make sure that the things you're good at, you'll be even better, and the things that you're not very good at, you will work on and will help you come and grow and develop. One of the assessment, B-Synchro is not here. This is one of the companies that I'm coaching. The first thing I've done is I agreed there were 10 people. This is the company that we funded in Fund 1 and we funded in Fund 2, and large amounts of money. We got to the team. Michel is a great guy. So he is, and then we sat down. We said, okay, what is the characteristics of the leader? All of you here are leaders in this group. The future of this company depends on you. So we brainstormed and we came up with leadership characteristics. And then we prioritized them. And then we said, okay, now each one of you evaluate yourself on these characteristics. And each one of you evaluates everybody else in the management team because they have been working together for the past 10 years. They know each other inside out. Each one of you evaluates the others on these, including your boss, including Michel as a CEO. And I get the information. Nobody else got the information on this thing. I get the information, and then I sit down with each one of them. And then on top of this, I ask for each one to give me 2 characteristics that are important characteristics for you. So I will, Hannah, so what is Hannah great at? And they will tell me 2 great things. She's a wonderful motivator. She's a great communicator. And then I will ask, give me 2 things about Hannah that she needs to work on. She's a bit disorganized. I don't know her, but it's, so let's say she's a bit disorganized on these things. But they will come up. So then you have a first pass of what we call a mini 360, where you get the feedback, how you are, how you see yourself, how others see yourself on it. And then based on this, what are the key gaps that you have? And based on these key gaps, I looked at the common themes, and then I organized the workshops around these themes in order to be able to help the team grow. So this is how you build competencies. You first assess. I ask the team to themselves rate what are the leadership characteristics were important to them, and then themselves decide what are the priority, the big ones, themselves evaluate themselves evaluate the rest of the team, and then work on what are the areas, and then I will help them work on. So this is part of developing this passion, developing the skill set, and having you and your team as a learning organization moving forward. I'm going to stop at this point. I could go on for hours, as you probably have figured out. So look, I know it was tense. I know it was extremely tense, so I'm going to summarize it in 1 minute. This journey, I'm sorry? 1 minute. This journey could be perceived by a number of you, it's too complicated and it's too structured. It's based on 35 years of my life, what I've lived and how I lived on it. Now I could add and I will subtract from it, but it's something that I have lived and I experienced. You take whatever you think is applicable to you. I believe all are important. You would realize that you have skills that you don't have, build them. It's very easily to build them by books, by workshop. All the workshop I deliver are free of charge. So if you haven't been on these workshops, give me your card. I will include you on the other, and I will continue running these workshops. I'm running another one on Friday tomorrow at 4. This is about how you build a high-performing team. So it's about the soft skills. It's not about the technical skills. It's not about the finance skills. At the end of the day, it's about how you work together and how you are out of yourself. You take the best out of your team, and you make sure that this team is really successful. So it's about the soft skill. As you grow in life, it's not about your technical skills. It's not about your programming. It's not about your finance skills. It's not about your project management skills. It's about your ability to be able to have trust in your people and to have them have trust in you. Why should anybody follow you, Dima? Why? If you could ask this question and answer this question, why should they follow you as a leader, then you will get a sense of what it is. So this course from 4 to 6:30 on Friday is about this, but I give a number of them. So if you're not on the distribution list, give me your card. I'm going to stop at this point. I want to thank you for it. I hope it was beneficial. The slides are available. I had about 55. They go through each of the points, but each of these slides could have sub-slides behind it. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for your time. Hannah, thank you.